Hi, welcome to the Industry Astrology Jupiter Transit videos for 2019 and 2020. It's a Vedic Astrology and Tarot reading for all 12 signs. Hi, my name is Kari Field. I'm a Vedic astrologer here in California, and I am going to be giving a quick transit video for all 12 signs. I thought I'd just give that to you guys because this is an important change that's happening coming up on November 4th. Jupiter is going to leave Scorpio and enter Sagittarius. Sagittarius is his favorite sign. Sagittarius is what we call the Mulatrikona. It's his home base. So this is a really good thing for Jupiter, especially people running cycles of Jupiter or people who are Sagittarius rising or moon Sagittarius. Now, as I go through these horoscopes, remember that this is Vedic astrology, so we use sidereal zodiac, which is about 23 or 24 degrees earlier than the Western sign. If you don't know your sign in Vedic astrology, reach out to me or some other Vedic astrologer. We can tell you, and a lot more than that too. We'll tell you what cycles you're running and what it really means for you according to your Vedic chart. In a reading, you can get a lot more concrete information about how these transits actually affect you, because it's not just about what house a planet is passing through. It's also about what's in that house, what cycles are running, the strength of that planet in your chart, and much, much more. I'm going to put a link below in the description window, the YouTube description window. You can just click. From anywhere in the world, you can get a one-on-one Vedic astrology reading with me. So on November 4th, Jupiter will cross that Gandanta, that cusp area, and enter Sagittarius, his home, as I was saying, his Mulatrikona. And he will be basically in Sagittarius until next year, November 20th. Although he's going to go really fast through Sagittarius for the first few months. So by the time around March 30th comes, he's sped through the whole sign and he crosses into Capricorn already. So he's going to be going very quickly in these first November, December, January, February, very quickly through all the degrees, all the nakshatras within Sagittarius, which is Mula, Purva Ashara, and into Uttara Ashara. So from March 30th to June 30th, there will be a window of time where he's in Capricorn and quite close to Saturn and basically stationing retrograde, right, with Saturn. So those 3 months, March 30th through June 30th, this doesn't really apply for those 3 months. There's something quite unique happening in that time period. But after June 30th, Jupiter will retrograde. He goes retrograde actually on May 14th. And he pulls back into his own sign again. Ketu will change signs and Jupiter will be alone, finally, in his sign. It will only be for a few months, but this is probably the best time period of Jupiter in Sagittarius from about late September until late November. Now Saturn is in Sagittarius, and it's been there since October 2017, and he definitely has been affecting ethics, ideals. It's really been a lot about coming out of the wishful thinking that everyone has to just get along, right? And bringing problems that may have been buried into the forefront. Since October of 2017, if you think back of everything that's happened since then, a lot of bubbles have been burst around ethical and philosophical beliefs, politics, the awareness of right versus wrong as well has been really pushed to the limits in many ways. Jupiter is the teacher of Dharma, the higher cosmic law, right? Because he is a big thinker, an ideal thinker. He thinks in groups. So how we are connected to one another. Brihaspati is another name for guru, and he appears in the Rig Veda as described as a sage, born from a great light who drives away the darkness, the light, right? Guru, the one who dispels the darkness of ignorance. I went to a Jupiter temple in Tamil Nadu last year. This is a yantra I got there. for Jupiter. I'm sure that that temple and many other temples in India will be full around November 4th of devotees coming to make offerings and get blessings from Jupiter for the coming year. This is a very auspicious transit that he goes into Sagittarius again, and there's a lot of hope. Jupiter is about generosity, compassion, high knowledge, higher education, and it's a planet that protects. It gives fertility, it gives good marriage, especially for women. It gives protection, like a father, basically. He's the Jivakaraka. He's the light of life, basically. All the good things, success and love, good like marriage, as I was saying, and wealth comes from Jupiter even as well. Depending, of course, how Jupiter is placed in your chart is how you're going to relate to these things. But Jupiter in general has this influence, and as he transits over certain areas of your chart, these blessings can come through those areas. So I'm going to be giving the horoscopes for all 12 signs here coming up. Remember, this is your Vedic sign. If you don't know your sign, reach out to me. You can read it from the ascendant, the lagna, or the moon, or even from the sun if you'd like. Also, remember, this is really general. There's no way this can replace a one-on-one reading. Everyone is really unique. Everyone has a unique natal chart, and how Jupiter's transit, of course, is going to affect everyone differently. But you can get some information in the 12 signs coming up. And also, I'm going to do something really special for Guru, for Jupiter. I am going to draw a card for each sign as well for the year to come. So, okay, so I'm going to lay these out. Okay, first, Aries. Aries, this is an excellent transit for you because Jupiter is going to be transiting through your 9th house, which is also his natural place. Jupiter loves the 9th house because it's all about truth, and Jupiter is the light of awareness, right? So this is a very spiritual transit. It can also, because Aries naturally, Jupiter rules your 12th house, right, as well. So it has to do with spirituality, with travel as well, or pilgrimages to maybe ashrams or spiritual places, or study. Jupiter in the 9th house can bring higher learning and higher opportunities, like graduate studies maybe. If you're thinking of doing that, this could be a good year to start, like in a university or even classes online. Also studying abroad. Jupiter is the teacher, so every time Jupiter is doing a transit like this to any of the trines, all the fire signs basically, there could be a meeting of an important teacher or a guru, and especially for Aries, it looks like maybe even a guru from some other country or abroad in a distant land. Jupiter's transit through the 9th house also can transform belief systems, and it's probably been pretty heavy with Saturn and Ketu there in the last year. So yeah, this is a time to reconnect with divine truth, find some kind of light of inspiration, and there could be also opportunities for you to be teaching or sharing knowledge, or maybe publishing if you write. Also, 9th house is father, so Jupiter through the 9th, if your father is still alive, it could be a very good time for him. Also a good time for healing relationship problems with him, if there are any. Okay, so let's see what the card is for Aries. This is going to be a very creative year for you as well, I think. Don't let the things hold you back. Don't let the doubt around your beliefs, around your vision of life, stop you anymore. Taurus, you are having this transit in your 8th house. 8th house deep spiritual house as well, but this is much more on the internal level. It's a Jala house, a water house. But also, it's the inheritance house. So Jupiter going through the 8th house does kind of classically sometimes bring windfalls of money somehow, like maybe insurance or taxes somehow, or some kind of inheritance maybe, or just big returns on investments sometimes too. Or it could be that your partner, because it's the 2nd house from the 7th, it could be that your partner gets some kind of economic gain as well. And so Taurus also, since it's 11th house Lord, there is something about gains and money here that's going on for you in this Jupiter transit. Also, Jupiter going through the 8th house has to do with the metaphysical, learning astrology, learning and deeper psychoanalytical, like depth psychology or hypnosis. So also research. If you're a research scientist, this can be an excellent time to be really delving deep into research, graduate research. And also this, like this 8th house, like I was saying, this is a spiritual house, but it's a shadowy kind of watery place. So it's like going deep within, like shadow work, or it's a great time to be breaking through bad habits and addictions as well. That 8th house is a lot about the unconscious tendencies. So let's take a look at the card. Taurus. Yes, there is something about money here. And look, it's such a Taurian card, a very earthy card you got here. Very positive. In the 8th house, it is about finding a stability in how you're dealing with money as well, and how it inherently sometimes we can't control where it's coming from. So learning to have vision about this as well. So Gemini, this is a great transit for you. It's through your 7th house. 7th house is the house of partnership. And lately with Saturn there in the last few years, it may have been difficult, and some challenges around partnerships or marriage. But Jupiter coming through there can be very healing for marriages, or it could even bring in a new relationship if you're looking for that. It's a love transit. And it's also making a direct aspect onto your ascendant, so you have a direct kind of drishti, gaze from Jupiter onto your life right now and your life path. A lot of this could also bring, especially with K2 there, could bring some really unusual and powerful business opportunities at work too. It's not all about love, because Jupiter also rules your 10th house of career. So there's something about commitments in business as well. But anyway, there's a lot of possibility to reset emotional and dynamics, and also business dynamics, and create, kind of clear the air, forgive the past, and start with new opportunities as Jupiter settles into your 7th house. A lot of higher awareness in how you relate to others, and getting healthy around boundaries as well, and how to share how independent versus dependent you are in all your negotiations and relationships. Okay, so let's just check your card. Let's see. Wow, so that is it's interesting. It's been going along with the elements very well with the signs. This is an air sign card, and it does have to do with really ending old patterns in relationship too. So this Jupiter transit is like, it's not going to allow for, like I was saying, codependent or unhealthy patterns in relationships anymore. Sort of had enough with that. So there's a real clearing of the air that can happen in forgiveness too. Okay, Cancer. Cancer, this Jupiter transit is in your 6th house. So this is the house of healing, and it is also the house of getting serious about what you do day to day. Now, this means maybe this is a time for bringing some spirituality into your routine, like waking up early, meditating, praying, connecting through mantra or any kind of spiritual practice that you do. But it can also just mean about getting back into your body in a healing way, bringing that light of awareness into your diet. So you can, and this can improve your digestion, and also getting regular exercise. Remember that you are what you eat as well. So this is, like I said, an excellent time to be. Jupiter wants, compassion and awareness. So eating organic and from locally sourced food so that you're doing the right thing for the environment and the economy. And also maybe considering a plant-based diet, at least on Thursdays. Jupiter in the 6th too also has to do with how you handle money. Awareness of how you invest your money and also the debt that you might have as well. How it's important not to waste. If sometimes there's like little things happening in your account that you're not even aware of, like these automatic payments and things, it's a good time to go in and really check, make sure nothing is being lost, no waste. Same thing with anything in the house, like water dripping or just making sure everything's sealed correctly. The Jupiter in the 6th wants to conserve and create a nice tight ship in especially your money and how it flows, and also just how you spend your energy in general. Also, Jupiter in the 6th house can make you more brave, especially when facing competition and enemies. So this is a good time to be getting yourself out there in different ways that you might have been a little bit intimidated about before. It's a great time in general to improve your health too. Like I was saying, maybe even start something new, some kind of class where you're improving your strength or getting cardio or something different that's going to get you into your body in a new and healing way, strengthening way. Also, Jupiter in the 6th house has to do with, if you are a person who owns a business, it is your employees. And if you work in a business, it could be people you work with, your coworkers. So this is a good time to be hiring new people, maybe. Also, just a good time to be working on projects with others. It's pets as well. So if you want a pet, hey, maybe this is the year to bring one into your family, into your life. Okay, and also, in general, it's about healing. So let's see what the cards have to say about Cancer, Jupiter transit. Yeah, we go. Actually, this is a Saturn sign, and Saturn is still in your in your 6th house, Cancer. But it is a lot to do with, letting go of habits that don't work for you anymore. This is about finding that place also in your life for the spiritual. The 6th house is not the easy house. It's a house of self-effort and work, and a lot about what we need to let go of as well. Okay, Leo, you have this transit. All the fire signs have really great Jupiter transits this year, and you have your transit going right through your 5th house. Leo, this is so excellent because Jupiter loves the 5th house. It's a fertile house. So this is a great time if you are trying to get pregnant or bring children into your life, adopt in any way or anything like that. Jupiter is great for bringing in children. It's also great for any kind of creative activity. So if you are an artist or if you're a writer, this is a time to really, it's very intellectual as well, Jupiter there. It's a time where you can really get into what you're doing, exciting for also developing new skills. And there's just a growth spurt maybe in general in your creative world or in your children too. Jupiter can also bring really good advice in the 5th house. He's kind of it's an active area. So it's about getting involved with sports or having big heart openings where you're connecting with others, especially on the romantic level. It can bring in love affairs too. And also just in general, if you do any kind of art, or if you don't even, consider doing it more or doing it, starting something new, some kind of new kind of self-expression. There's a lot of healing that can happen through expressive arts. Jupiter through the 5th house is lucky for investments also, so taking chances a little bit. So this is a pretty good year for you coming up, especially, like I said, once Saturn and Ketu leave Sagittarius next fall. So let's see Leo's card. Oh, the fertility card. Yeah, like I was saying, this is the goddess. The Empress is the mother. So Jupiter's transit through the 5th house truly is a very fertile time to take advantage of it. Water your garden, whether it be literally a garden or the garden of your family, the garden of your inner creative expression. Virgos, this is a great transit for you. Jupiter is going to be entering your 4th house. Now, it's probably been difficult in some ways maybe to settle down, or issues with family could have been coming up in these last years with Saturn in the 4th house, but once Saturn moves out and Jupiter settles in, it is time for you to settle too. This is a grounding time period. Jupiter really helps put down the roots. It can improve the home you live in. It could be a great time, maybe, depending, of course, on other factors in your horoscope, but it could be a great time to be buying real estate or getting a new vehicle. And just in general for partnerships, it's great too, because Jupiter is the natural ruler of your 7th house of partnership. So there's like something about settling down, getting really real and support, getting real support, emotional support, and healing support. Healing the emotions. The 4th house is the emotional body. So it is a lot about like the really deep healing as well. You know, it's childhood issues maybe that have been difficult in these last years since Saturn is there. You know, maybe you've been working on the inner child. This is a time when a lot of healing light can come in and really heal those old wounds. Also ancestral wounds too, even from past life as well. So also Jupiter in the 4th house is a great time to be connecting with the water, right? The 4th house is the water source, the well of the home. So yeah, a time to be connecting with joy and happiness as well. What's nourishing, what's keeping things growing. And also, yeah, I said ancestral healing, but it's also learning about heritage. It's literally our roots, because it's 4th house, it's down in the ground. And so it's a great time to be really deepening our connection to the world in an ancient way, in a way that's very deep and heart-centered. It's a very devotional area of the zodiac, Jupiter in the 4th house. It's also great for education, if you're thinking, especially undergraduate education opportunities. So let's just see about this one, Virgo, for you, Jupiter in the 4th. Lovely. There she is, the inner child, the healing, nourishing support of the open heart. Yeah, it's okay to be vulnerable. Now, as Saturn moves away from your 4th house, there's a sort of coming home and a feeling of softness that can happen in the life. Libra. Libra, this Jupiter transit is in your 3rd house, the 3rd house of communications, and a lot about also the skills that we can learn with our hands. You have an opportunity now to be pushing through fears, you know, empowering yourself to push past boundaries that may have seemed insurpassable before. It's great for, like I said, communication. The 3rd house has to do with how you use your language. It could also be just learning in general, learning a new language in particular. 3rd house sometimes is travel as well, and the neighbors, and making new friends with the neighbors, connecting with others in the community. 3rd house also gives this sort of independence, this freedom drive. The 3rd house has to do with siblings as well. So it's a great time to get closer to siblings or heal disruptions that may have been happening, or it could just be that Jupiter's blessing them. So this is a good time to be pushing through your fears, like I said, expanding and finding new freedom, especially in the form of communication, journaling, writing, advertising. The 3rd house has a lot to do with, pushing through those fears and advertising, getting out there, talking about yourself, and maybe getting gains. There's a strong connection with the 11th house here, drishti into the 11th house of networks. So let's just see what the cards have to say for you, Libra. Jupiter. Okay, another air sign, air card for an air sign. This is happening so far, almost every card like that. So this card has to do with trust as well, and how you fight for your rights, and trust in ourselves and in the world. Third house inherently may have this sort of desire to push through on its own and not depend on others. Independence. And this is kind of true for, I think, for a lot of the air signs. Jupiter rules the 6th house for you. So there is something about how you trust others, how you fight in the world against people who may not be supporting you. And that includes inside to how we sabotage ourselves, right? Or maybe put trust in things that we shouldn't. Scorpio, Jupiter's transit is so good for you. There is a great influence of Jupiter in your 2nd house, which is something that is really needed because Saturn has been there since 2017, and it could have been some struggle financially or some difficulties on the material realm at times. Now, with Jupiter going in there, there's a blessing of prosperity that can ease all these struggles. Money can come in. Jupiter is going to be transiting your 2nd house of money. Also, Jupiter in your 2nd house can open your voice and help you voice your beliefs. Jupiter is beliefs. So there's something about expanding family. This is a pretty excellent transit for the family. Often I see a lot of children born also. May not be yours, but in the extended family as well, or marriage even can come in because Jupiter rules your 5th house. Jupiter in the 2nd house makes for expansion of material opportunities, savings, accounts can grow. There's a possibility for investments and different kinds of financial security that you may not have had before. Okay, so Scorpio, let's pull a card for you. Nice. So this card has to do with also, literally, this is the Jupiter, this is a Sagittarius card. This is an excellent card. But it does have to do, like I said, with new opportunities of growth and that security that you want to bring into your life. Jupiter in the 2nd is kind of what you have that's taking care of you and what you take care of as well. There's this sort of coming together. So very positive, strengthening time, this transit for you. All right, here we go. Sagittarius, this is really, you're really getting hit directly by this Jupiter, of course, because Jupiter is entering Sag, and that's your sign. Jupiter is the awakener in many ways. So this is a new awakening to all sorts of fresh ideas and new opportunities, just a lot of improvement in general across the board, because when something enters the 1st house, it affects all the houses. So there's a huge blessing here. This is a very common one I see for people bringing in children, having children, or starting new businesses, or improving just in general their vision of life. There's also the possibility of gaining weight. That's what Jupiter does when he expands the body when he goes over the Lagna. But there's also this sort of possibility for, in general, improved health and relationships, because he's aspecting right into your 7th house of partnership. Jupiter, it's just going to be such a relief for Sagittarius, because Saturn and Ketu being there all year, Saturn's been there since 2017. This is just going to be a sort of return of the light, a return of your health especially. Also, Jupiter rules your 4th house, which is great for education opportunities, real estate opportunities, and all sorts of prosperity when it comes to just general happiness and spiritual expansion. So let's just see what the tarot cards have to say about this transit, Sagittarius. Okay. Yeah, well, moving forward. You know, once it's going to take a little time. Saturn is still on your ascendant. And it's going to take until end of January till Saturn is gone. And then he's still kind of close by, right? Because especially if you're reading this from your moon, you're in Sati for another 3.5 years, of course. But there is something really positive. You are moving forward finally. There is something that is going to improve greatly as Saturn moves away and Jupiter settles in, especially near the end of the year. Capricorn. Capricorn, this is an interesting time for you. Jupiter is moving into your 12th house of moksha, surrender, right? Liberation. So this is a very spiritual transit for you. Jupiter will be moving into the 12th house of where there is a sort of natural sort of tendency to want to have time alone, introspection. It's great for prayer and meditation, ending things. The 12th house is endings. So there could be, this could be a year where you're retiring or finishing projects or ending jobs. And it's a good thing because Jupiter there is going to be doing it because it's for the best. So there's a natural sort of rhythm with Jupiter in the 12th house where losses can actually incur great gains and peace. Jupiter in the 12th house can improve your sleep or give you dreams that have spiritual meaning. Communicating with people that are past or teachers that are, higher selves even through the dream. Astral travel is supported at this time too if you do that kind of work. Jupiter gives a lot of spiritual fire energy into the 12th house of the astral world. The world of, the astral body is the body of desire, right? So this is 12th house is also the bed and the bedroom. So there is something that can spice up if you're interested in that in your sex life. The Jupiter 12th house transit though is so good for deeper spiritual healing, especially when it comes to things that you need to let go of and surrender, let go and change. So this is a great time for forgiveness. Also 12th house has to do with, Jupiter loves the 12th house because it's natural ruler, because he loves to travel, and the 12th house is foreign lands. So this could be a time for overseas studying, abroad, travel. It's great because Jupiter rules the 3rd house for Capricorn, so this could be a great time to be studying as well. Jupiter in the 12th house will make you want to donate money. It's very charitable. So why not donate, especially to money on education will be really great for Jupiter. Donating to schools, teachers, and religious organizations that you believe in also can make you feel really fulfilled, getting involved in that way. It doesn't have to be money, it could be time. Also, freedom, Jupiter free, like the moksha house in the 12th house being the moksha house, Jupiter gives a sort of freedom of these self-sabotaging behaviors. It's similar to all the other water houses where it is a lot about breaking addictions or other kinds of emotional obstacles that might be blocking or draining you. It helps you really see patterns and break them. Okay, so let's see what Jupiter in the 12th house for Capricorn. Let's see what the cards have to say. Nice. This is a card of moving, travel, moving forward. It's very successful. Like I said, this is about letting go and surrendering, but also moving forward naturally. It's a very positive card. It's also, a travel card. So again, this time, Capricorn, actually this is a very good transit for you to be traveling. Jupiter also makes a drishti to the 4th house, and that is great for education, as I was saying too. This card has to do with that as well. This card is said to be in the Tree of Life, the card that travels through realms from one part of the Tree of Life to the higher level, crossing one of these very difficult to cross zones, right? Very high spiritual card. And so use this year. This is a really great year in Jupiter in Sagittarius in his Swa sign, your 12th house, for spiritual practices and spiritual growth. Aquarius, this is going to be transiting your 11th house. So it's a very lucky house indeed. One of the best houses for Jupiter to transit. There's a lot of possibility with 11th house. It's all about making dreams come true. Luck, productivity, meeting the right people at the right time, networking, and Jupiter's aspect into the 7th house and the 5th house looks like also you could be meeting the right people if you are looking to get married or have a partnership as well. So this is really about meeting new people this time period and being open. and the right kind of people. Jupiter wants spiritual people or optimistic people, people positive who are going to support you and encourage you, well educated. It's a time for also, connecting to people who can, those kinds of people who can give you good advice and guidance and push you towards your personal light of growth and opportunity. And it's also sometimes about increased income, like I said, falling in love and just getting involved with social events and clubs. Just get out there because you're going to meet some really amazing people this coming year, Aquarius. So, and also, yes, 11th house gives success for the career and getting yourself out there as far as like making money with these new friends or self-promoting. And so going to conferences, going to, places where you can speak in public and things like that. Share yourself. Good idea for this coming year. Okay, let's see what the cards have to say, Aquarius. Yeah. It's funny, one of the names of the 11th house is the House of Happiness, and it's literally the card that you have. So yeah, this is a time to be putting yourself out there. Don't be a hermit. Get out there and connect to others. There's a lot of opportunity to be gained. Pisces, Jupiter rules your sign, so he has a lot to do with everything in your life. So his better position is just going to feel all around a lot easier on you. But the great thing is that he's going to be going into your 10th house, which is the midheaven, straight up in the sky. That's where Sagittarius is for you, and that has to do with your career and how you work in the world and share your gifts. And it has a lot to do with your income, right? And your success in life as well. So this is a time to be, getting a raise, asking for a raise or a better job, even a better position. It could be about also just being happy with what you're doing, finally, with Saturn and Ketu's influence there, and especially like in the last year, you may have really been frustrated with your boss, or maybe different advisors or people who are telling you what to do, and maybe opportunities have been closing on you, or something unstable about the job. Well, things are going to start to resolve, especially as Saturn leaves the 10th house, which is going to be later on in February, end of January, coming in 2020. Especially if you're a teacher or a consultant or a psychologist or somebody who advises or maybe others, or a journalist, this is a really good time for you. A lot of growth in career. Okay, so let's take a look at the final card here for Pisces. Wow. Yeah, maybe Jupiter in the 10th house. If you've been thinking about being self-employed, or starting like to think differently about how you make an income, like not so small, it's bigger. The most wealthy people in the world are self-employed. So the cards are saying this is a great time to be becoming more independent as well with how you make money and taking control of your career. Okay, there you go. That's all 12 signs for the Jupiter transit for 2019 and 2020. Very cool how that worked out with the cards. Book a reading with me if you'd like to know more about this transit. I'll leave a link in the description window, in the YouTube description window below. And I'll try to link one at the end of this video too. And also, if you haven't already, subscribe to my YouTube video. Get on my newsletter. It's free. And stay tuned for more forecast in the future from an undershoot.